And now we welcome on stage Kath. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we have like heard about the strategies and AI and again AI and AI is reading your
We-
emails, but now we are actually switching from the AI to the psychology and mind.
Let's go back to
So
the roots, right?
yeah, so Kat will talk about mind over marketing, cognitive biases to turn scrollers into shoppers.
Oh, this is something for me.
Yeah.
Great. So, looking forward to it. Oh, what's that? Okay, so shall I get started? Because
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes, please.
this this is the basis of email marketing, of marketing, right? Because we are, whether we're using AI to help us or not, the bottom line is that we are wanting to get uh, into our consumers' minds, right? And how we can do that, there are some easy ways to do it. I have got a little bit in the deck as well that talks about what to be careful of, what to stay away from, because what you can do is you can sort of go a little bit too far. You can be a little bit too manipulative. So we don't want to do that. But anyhow, let's go and have a look at where we're going today, right? So this is me. I've been in the industry for, I think it's coming on 28 years. I've authored 2 books, Holistic Email Marketing, first edition, second edition. I'm CEO and founder of Holistic Email Marketing, a boutique consultancy, and also co-founder of the Holistic Email Academy, on-demand CPD certified courses. And you can catch me there. Now, so this is what I was talking about, right? Consumers, and I'll call them customers. And if you're B2B, they're still a consumer. They're still consuming your emails, right? Customers don't read emails as what we would like them to think of as being, harried Harriet or marketing Mary or something like this, right? They're actually reading them as unique individuals. They read them as humans. And humans are busy. We've got busy minds, we've got busy brains, we're sort of torn here, there, and everything like this. And what's happened is that over time, our minds have evolved, and we have created shortcuts, right? But added on to that, and we're going to talk about the shortcuts in kind of the second half, I want to let you into a fantastic little secret, right? Which is really going to transform your marketing. There are 2 ways of thinking. So there's the first one, which is system 1. And that's our intuitive thinking. That's the thinking that happens without us actually putting any effort in, without us trying, without us mindfully even being aware that we're doing it. Then you've got the system 2, and that is more the mindful thinking, the analytical, the weighing up your pros and your cons and your choices, and you actually, really focusing on what you're doing. Now, how it works is we are instinctively always going to be using system 1 to begin with, because if you think about it, we make hundreds of thousands of micro decisions throughout the day. And I'm not just talking about work. I'm talking about what socks to wear, what shoes to wear, what am I having for breakfast? Should I go and put this upstairs first, or should I stay here? There's decisions happening all the time. Most of these are done using system 1. We just will intuitively do what is most logical for us and what's best for us. And sometimes we do have to call upon system 2. Now, how it works with email is that we tend to be very much in system 1. So you know how we do the triage. So we go and get into our inbox and we have a look and we go, oh, I want to save that for later. Oh, delete that. Oh, that looks interesting. Blah, 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 blah. Right? That is all system 1. We are not sort of spending, oh, should I open this email and spend 5 minutes debating whether we're going to open the email, right? It's very much intuitive, automatic, system one. So email is very much that in mind. And when you talk about subject lines, that's system one. Definitely system one. We hook them emotionally using things like, which we'll talk about, curiosity. That's a cognitive bias. And that is system one. But then we are going to be moving into system two later on in emails. Not every email, but a lot of emails, particularly in B2B, do require us to actually move them into system two. So if we start to understand that decisions are made using emotions, right? We're going to start to clue on to the answer to marketing. We tend to think that people are always making decisions to buy our products using system two. We don't label it that, but we think that they're doing it analytically. We think that they're weighing up the pros and the cons and they're looking at all the details. And yes, a lot of people will be. And depending on your product, yes, you do need that for a lot of the products. But the initial hook will more often than not be an emotional one. How is this going to help me? Is this going to make my life easier? Is this going to make me more impressive looking? Is this, all of those kind of things? They're all emotional decision factors. So what we want to do is we want to open up the door using system one, tapping into that emotion, getting them hooked, and then we actually then bring in system two with the pros and the cons and the comparisons and everything, and then they can make their decision. Like I said, sometimes you don't need system two to be involved at all, though. So very much the visual elements, bright colors, big pictures, easy to use call to actions, anything that speaks to the person and helps them in their journey is very much system one, right? So easy to read text, just small, snippets, small short paragraphs, things like that are really, really helpful for system one. And in the case of the Starbucks email, you don't need to bring in system two. It literally is system one email, works perfectly as is. Here's another example which really speaks to system one. Okay, this is Hotel Chocolat and how it's been designed. So it's using the implicit visual cues. So it's got that little sort of shaded inverse pyramid type thing leading down, which has got the don't miss out, which again is tapping into the cognitive bias of loss aversion, which is also very system one. Okay, with the end of season selection, so it's very, very tiny here. You can barely read it. Anyhow, it goes down, leads you down to the call to action and then to the box of goodies, right? So it's very, very much system one based. Again, do you need to bring system two in? Maybe system two is only brought in on the landing page when they're then weighing up what size box that I want to get for my mother or Valentine's Day or whatever the story is, right? So that's when system two can come in. But maybe for the email, all you need is just to hook them emotionally and visually and help guide them into getting onto the landing page. And that's when you can bring in system two. Here is an example of system two, an email using system two beautifully. And what it is it's basically saying, do you want this product or this product? So we have two products and they, both have will meet different needs. Have a look and see which one you need so that you're a little bit more informed by the time you actually get to the landing page. And maybe you haven't fully made a decision or anything like that, but you are that little bit more informed. And what they've gone and done is they've actually started off with system one, and I'm going to show you other examples, but system one works beautifully, hooks their attention, subject line, gets you caught up, right? And then you can then bring in that system two factor. Interactive tools are also brilliant for system 2. It helps them to sort of weigh up and go, which one's better than for me? So quizzes and calculators and configurators and all of that kind of stuff really can help. And as I said before, it's absolutely key. Even if you are B2B, you've got a very long sales process, you've got lots of documentation and facts and figures and everything like that, you still need to bring in System 1 in the first place. How are they going to benefit? What is this all about? What is it going to mean to them? You sell the solution, how it makes their life better. That's the actual emotional factor. And then you bring in all the pros and the cons and the way up and the, all the details. So start with System 1 and hook them, right? And then bring in System 2 when logic is needed. So that's System 1 and System 2. And this is running under every email that we send. Absolutely, because that is how humans make decisions. Now, what we're going to look at in this next section is 3 cognitive biases. So you're probably familiar with the curiosity bias, even though you might know it's a bias, but curiosity bias, framing effect, and default bias. Let's get in and have a look at these. There are over 200 cognitive biases that have currently been determined, right? But there's a lot more out there as well that are yet to be discovered or named, right? Packaged up. So have a look and sort of see which ones can work for you. Some are just not going to. Some are negative ones. And, things like that loss aversion that I referred to earlier, that is what I would call a negative one. And with a negative bias, what that means is that, it's not positive, right? It's calling upon the fear factor, the fear of missing out. And so it's incredibly effective. But because it is so strong, you have to use it minimally. You have to be very cautious about how you use it. And I'm seeing it's being used too often, willy-nilly. And therefore, it's going to be losing its potency, its power. And you don't want that to happen because it is such a powerful and effective one. You just want to make sure that you're using it at the right time and within the right intervals, right? So not doing it too frequently. And that is based on, the bottom line is that there are two main emotions that humans feel, right? That's the negative one. So that's basically loss or fear or, that kind of thing, or benefiting. Now, we will always choose. We have evolved for survival. So we will always choose the loss over the positive, the benefits, because we are still designed to keep ourselves alive, right? So we will always try and avoid loss in preference to even benefit. So just keep that in mind. So curiosity bias, as I said, a lot of us are using it. We don't even know that it is actually a cognitive bias, or otherwise known as it could also be called a heuristic. And curiosity bias basically leads people to want to know more, right? There's a loop. You have opened up something and they want to know the answer. You have raised a question, and now the way that our minds work is that we have to settle it. We have to resolve it. We want to know more about this. So that's why it works so well in subject lines, okay? Subject lines, pre-headers can also work really well with curiosity, and even opening up, your first sentence within your opening paragraph can also be using the curiosity bias. Now, another one I'd like to do is the power of the nod too, which is basically you ask a question, but you are asking them knowing already that they're going to be agreeing. So that is, you're closing the loop right there. And you're saying, do you struggle with And they go, oh, yeah, I do. So you've opened the loop, you've closed the loop. But because you've closed the loop that way, you have now given them more information that they're emotionally hooked, right? And they want to read up more. You're going to solve this problem, this pain. Great. I want to find out how. Okay. The power of framing. So framing is so important. When I first found out about framing, it's like this, big light bulb appeared, and I'm going, oh, right. How you frame things as a marketer is crucial to your results. So you can frame things, which we tend to do, the obvious one, £30 a month. Okay, because that's how much it costs, £30 a month. Well, that's a lot. And when you start to think about it, can I afford £30 a month? I'm not sure about that. Or less than £1 a day, right? We've all seen for less than a cup of coffee a day. Often charities will be using things like that. So what you want to do is start to frame it and make it more palatable, more easy, more acceptable. So phrases like 90% fat-free. So in this way, because we're doing it the inverse, right? 90% fat-free actually feels healthier than 10% fat. So we're saying the negative there. If we're wanting to be fat-free and we actually say we're leading with 10% fat, then not only do they have to do the math and go, oh, so that means 90% is without, right? But when you're doing 90% fat-free, it's kind of like that's almost 100%. So no math is involved. So it makes it really easy to consider. But also you're leading with the positive. You're leading with what they want to hear. So start to think about how you can strategically be framing your pricing, your offers, and everything within email marketing, and of course on your landing page, because they work hand in hand together, right? The third one I wanted to talk about today is the default bias. Now, I've got one example here, but it's used all the time. So default bias is basically we humans tend to go with what is presented with us, right? We are inherently lazy. Remember I said we're making hundreds of thousands of decisions, micro decisions every day. So we will always sort of go for the easy solution, the one that requires as least effort from us as possible. Hence, the default bias is our friend, both as a consumer and also as a marketer, as long as we use it effectively and ethically, okay? So and we're going to talk in a little minute about dark patterns, which is more manipulation. So don't use a default bias to manipulate them. Always be transparent. We'll talk about that in a minute. But if we start to think about how this works, right? So we can see this, and this is also known as the Goldilocks effect, right? So we've got the 3 different options, pricing options. Often we will see this with a SaaS product. So you've got your basic, your standard, your premium. And what you've gone and done here is you've literally used the system 1 visual cues. Okay, so we've got most popular there, and we've got it's highlighted, so it's in color, whereas the other ones are less visual. And so we are literally going here, this is the one that's going to suit you best because it's the most popular. And most people go for this. And we are, another cognitive bias is social proof, right? So we are, like I said, we tend to go with the flow. So this works really, really well. But then there are other things like tick boxes, okay? Which is why tick boxes are incredibly powerful because of the default bias, which is why under GDPR, those, they did not allow the tick box to be pre-ticked when giving permission, because it is the default bias which is underlying that principle or that tactic is so powerful, right? They wanted people to actually be able to voluntarily make a decision. And there's loads of studies out there that have proven that the default, whatever is ticked, whatever you are putting together and sort of packaging up as this is how it is, that tends to go with the majority. And then those that have to untick or go and tick, then that's only going to be the minority. So again, be transparent, be ethical, right? Don't be manipulative, because this is and could be and can be incredibly powerful. Now, we're going to have a look at some examples. So here we've got a lovely example here from Bloom and Wild. Subject line is the most stunning way to end summer, right? So it's a question mark. And you see the visuals there, you see the subject line, and you're like, I want to know more. What it's doing is it's tapping into your emotions. Stunning way to end summer, right? And then when you combine that then with the visuals, absolutely, you're hooked and you want to find out more about it. So it does give you that instant open me reaction. And so this is more of this isn't like a B2B one, would be a more specific, sort of have you ever, or did you know, that kind of thing, right? And then you would give the answer within the body of the email. This one here is really designed just to hook into those emotions and get you to come and have a look at the email itself. Then what you can be doing is another one is anchor, right? So it's the anchoring effect, and how it does. I'm not going to talk about this too much, but it's really, really good to be using something like that in the pre-header, and you're setting then the anchor, you're reinforcing the subject line. Here you're framing the reader's expectations, and of course you're building then the consistency in the value as well. So make sure that you get your subject line and pre-header working together. Now, you don't always want to be answering the question that you raised in the pre-header, because then they're not going to necessarily open up the email, but you want to support it, you want to build upon it, you want to even, raise the curiosity up a level as well if possible. Yeah. So what we're wanting to do, remember I was saying to you about system 1, system 2 when we opened up this presentation. You really need to start off with engaging them. And this is a great example of what they've gone and done here with Pulsetto. $350 off. And I love this because they're not using a percentage, so there's no calculation needed, so which is perfect for system 1. System 1, once you start to bring in the percentages, then what happens is that you are then almost forcing them into system 2, right? You're forcing them to be mindfully getting at their calculator or sort of doing a bit of math and everything. And by the time they've done that, they're in system 2 now. So to try and keep them in system 1, try and just sort of give it to them as easy as possible so that they can stay in system 1. They can engage. Then when they're fully hooked, that's when you take them into the system 2, okay? So, and this one here, then it transitions beautifully to just this rational support and providing the logical, arguments or information to support their particular product and justify why you should be buying it. So here you've got opens with the emotional hook, reset your stress. I mean, that's pure emotion right there. And then you've got a lovely calm imagery, and you've got then the $350 off as well. And then it comes in with system 2, and it has that scientific explanation of how the product actually works, because there's no way you could sell this product purely on system 1. You need more detail. okay? And you need to be actually substantiating it as well, which is what they do. So it's got case studies, it's got reports and everything like this. So it's a really, really lovely example of how it moves from system 1 through to system 2. Now, cognitive biases are within both system 1 and system 2, right? Different ones for different systems. So it's not that there's system 1, system 2, and then cognitive biases. No, they actually all work in together. So here we've got the subject line, which is system 1. And what I'm just doing here is I'm just creating an email, right? So here's an example. Using the curiosity bias, system 1, the 3 hidden leaks costing you revenue. And then the pre-header, using the framing effect, fix them in minutes and reclaim £200 a day. The hero copy, which is also using the framing effect, small fixes today create big revenue tomorrow. And then you've got the call to action, which is using the default bias, big bold button, yes, show me my leaks. Okay? So that's an example of how you could use the 3 cognitive biases together. And what we can see here, obviously I haven't got the full email because I was just making this up, but it would be a case of system 1, subject line, pre-header, hero copy. That can be system 1, and then it leads down into the actual detail of the email, and then where you have substantiated it using system 2, and then you've got the call to action. So this is what I was talking to you about before, about dark patterns and how we have to, if we're going to start embracing using the psychology, the behavioral science, the things like the heuristics and cognitive biases and system 1, system 2, and really start to want to tap into our customers' minds and how they buy, we have to be aware that there are bad ways to use it, right? And what that means is that, I mean, to be honest, I'm seeing them all the way through email nowadays. There are, even from the basic little thing of RE in the subject line, right? So regarding RE, I'm still seeing that. And it's deceitful. It really, really is. It's just deceptive. It's deceptive. To other ones, like I've seen recently, cart abandonment email from a couple of brands. It's happened. And I haven't actually put anything into my cart, but they know cart abandonment. Again, using that out, you know, there's only a few hours left of before we get rid of your cart, you know, that kind of stuff. And then you go to your cart and you go, there's nothing in my cart because I didn't put anything in my cart. That's just pure deception. And what happens when you use these tactics? Some are worse than others. Obviously, there is from gray to black as such. You need to understand that you may trick them into getting some short-term wins. But what price are you paying in the long term? You've lost trust. You're probably going to get loads more returns when they realize, what is this all about? You know, they've been hooked and everything, and they're going to be returning, or they just don't feel good about it. I've been writing a lot of articles lately for the post-purchase, and the post-purchase process, as far as a consumer goes. Okay, I've made the purchase. Now they almost sort of go, I need you to validate my decision for me. And if they're going, oh, I feel like I was hoodwinked. I feel like I was pressured. I'm feeling uncomfortable about this. Then that's because you've done a very naughty tactic. Okay, so manipulative dark patterns, avoid, and there are a lot of them out there. And these ones, these are really old, right? And these are the ones, and I did these ones because everyone's seen these, and everyone's probably even noticed these, and everyone's had to deal with these. And how did they make you feel when you dealt with them? This is the question, right? Do you want to convert your bounce traffic into revenue? Yes, show me how. Or no, I like it when visitors bounce. No, that's just horrible. I don't want yes, but no, I don't like it when visitors bounce. It just doesn't suit me at the time. But by hitting no, you feel like you are confirming that that is the truth, and it's not. It's horrible, right? And the other two also go and do the same sort of thing, right? So this is not good. This is not ethical marketing. This is dark patterns. Like I said, there are so many out there. And once you start to see them, you're going to see them all over the place. And you're going to go, oh, that's why I didn't like that email. That's why it didn't sit well with me. You know, things like that. That's the last thing you want to make your customers feel. Okay. You want your customers to trust you, to look forward to receiving your emails, to feel happy and content. And like I said, you know, that they're dealing with a moral, ethical company. Because I mean, what I do when I sign up, I actually wrote about this the other day. When I sign up for a brand, I will sign up and I will check out their emails. I will see what they say, how they communicate. And if they're ethical, if I like how they're marketing, then I will consider buying from them. If they're trying to trick me, deceive me, do any of those horrible dark pattern tactics, then I'm gone. You're not getting any money from me, because I'm not going to be supporting an unethical company like that. So start to sort of think about, what message are you actually, you know, putting out there. The best persuasion is when both the brand and the customer win. Just, that's your mantra, right? Just have that out there, because this is absolutely true. So ethic pays off big time. It will build that trust. It will give you customer loyalty and advocacy, and people will talk about you positively. They will refer you. Their customer lifetime value will increase, whereas the dark patterns will actually have the negative effect on all of these. Just be, you know, mindful of your integrity in this world, in today's world. So let's just have a look at a couple of takeaways, right? So system 1 and 2, what we talked about at the very beginning, always lead with that fast brain, that one that they're not necessarily even aware that they're making a decision. Hook them in ethically, emotionally, right? To get their interest, and then move into the system 2. 3 cognitive biases that we talked about. Make sure that you are helping them and working with these shortcuts that we humans have over time developed ourselves to help us to make sense of all the decisions that we have to make, to actually make our lives easier. Work with them, okay? Strategy. What you want to do is you want to be mapping your biases across your subject line, your pre-header, your body, your call to actions, and then your ethics. Trust is the ultimate return on investment. So always keep that in mind. Understand that people don't buy with logic alone. And this is where a lot of marketers fall foul, right? They think that they have to, everyone's making it with their rational brain. It's not so, right? They do it with the emotion, lead with emotion, and then they will substantiate and say, oh, okay, rationalize essentially why they made that decision. They're buying with their both brains, system 1 and system 2, sometimes only system 1. So understanding how the brain works is actually going to help change your emails and how they perform immeasurably. So just to finish off, we're offering a free course to go into more detail about system 1, system 2, and you can earn some CPD learning hours alongside of it. So check that out. And thank you very much for joining me today in this little whirlwind of a presentation where I've gone in and just introduced you to the principles of how to reason and appeal to your audience's minds.
Thank you, Kath. Really interesting because when reading about like marketing tactics from blogs and internet, they're usually they usually don't talk about ethics. So I think the main goal is to convert, to sell, to earn revenue, but this is like totally opposite side, and it seems really logical. We have time for a few questions also.
Yeah, I have a question here that, but it's really like deep knowledge of the behavior psychology. So actually, you are seeing like probably with your clients that how many is really thinking about all this cognitive stuff behind it.
Mm.
If comparing that all right, we talked here with Erki that we will take your book, insert it to the AI, and then say that
Instruct it, do everything right, make me the perfect converting newsletter. I don't have to know anything about psychology myself, because a few presentations back, Mitro told like the future of email marketers. Are we even needed? In a few years, AI taking over the task lists, what every email marketing has to do. There was like 20 jobs. Now it seems we have to be psychologists also. It's so overwhelming.
Right. But you know what? This has always been the way. This is not a new thing. This is how we humans deal with each other. And if you have a look, I do lots of deconstructions of existing emails. Now, I would say, to answer Tanel, your very first question, I would say the majority are not even aware that they're using these biases. They're not aware of it, but they are doing it because they've tested something and it's worked, or they know, hey, I really like it when a brand does that, so I'm going to do it. Or they've seen a competitor do it, so therefore they're mimicking, but they're not necessarily going, oh, I think we're going to call upon the curiosity bias today, right? They're not doing things like that. If they did, they would be even more effective. I mean, they are effective in creating these emails, because when I do the deconstruction, I can see that a lot of them are working, but they could be working even better. So just to be able to, personally, I think it's how we talk to each other as well. It's just human nature. It helps you in life. It helps you to talk to other people and understand how people are. So yeah, I don't think this is not a new thing to marketing. It's just new to email marketing because we've never ever done it before.
So what is your suggestion for me as a beginner, if I want to do everything right? What would be the like highest like value, but the easiest thing to start with when I start writing emails?
Okay, I teach this in the courses, so it's really you can use AI. You can actually use AI, but I still believe that AI in this day and age, right? I'm not talking about the future, but in this day and age, we are the director of that customer's journey. And because we're the director, we still need to understand what it is that we want them to do so that we can brief the AI tool properly and everything. But it has got lots of detailed knowledge that we may not have at this stage. But we still need to have a basic understanding so that we can check that it's not hallucinating, right? Hallucinations are happening far less with AI now. But we just want to make sure, yes, you're on track. Yeah, I agree with you. Yes, you're right. So let's do this, right? And then you can be doing that. So what I do, I've also got presentations on how I use AI to actually help teach you. So it's a continual learning. So you're the instructor, you're the director of the customer journey, but you're then calling upon the knowledge of AI, and it understands a lot of these psychological, cognitive biases in system 1 and system 2, particularly. I mean, I've trained it all on it. So using my system, it's fine. And then what you need to do is then you then start learning more and more, because it's teaching you stuff, because it's teaching you right? So it's this beautiful learning cycle. So that's, and yes, it's always, you do need to read books. You do need to go to courses. You do need to get that basic fundamental knowledge so that you are not just totally being guided by AI because you're the director. It's
Of course. Thank you, Kath.